Aloha, welcome to day 22 of my 30-day video challenge. Today I'm going to take you guys around the world a little bit. Basically a snapshot of my travels throughout this life. I am going to be 42 years old, and I've been uh, across America and around the world a little bit, and I'm going to share that with you. So thanks so much for tuning in. Uh, Aloha. So most of my younger years, I was in the USA, but I also visited Canada a few times in my young years. USA trips included trips. Well, I'm from Ohio, so a lot of around Ohio, just regular to and from um, baseball tournaments all around Ohio. And I'm sure we went into the other states too a little bit. Um, I traveled, a lot of my travels were local to the area, trips to, say, Indiana, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and the states around Ohio. Um, but here's some of the trips that I remember pretty vividly in my early years. I remember many years where I went over to Bloomington, Indiana to visit my best friend and his family for Christmas holidays into the New Year's. Uh, I remember family trips where we would go eastward and up the coast. We have family that's lived up in Maine and New Hampshire over the years, Portsmouth and Portland and Boston areas, and so on and so forth. So I remember as a child going to those places. New York, I've been many times to go to the city, as well as to go skiing, Bristol Mountain, Holiday Valley. We would stay at a lake there for those trips. Um, I also did skiing trips to Colorado. I got to get a week off of school and with my dad, my uncle, and some ski group guys, and we traveled. So that took the driving across from Ohio over to Colorado for that in crazy winter where we couldn't even see the road, but we just knew no one else would be stupid enough to be on that road, so we just kept going forward um, until they shut down the freeway and we had to stay in a hotel for a little while. But I skied in Colorado. I skied Breckenridge, Arapahoe Basin, Keystone, and Copper Mountain on that trip. I've done multiple trips to Las Vegas for different reasons. There was one was a bachelor party, or one or two, and then also a business convention when I was doing the network marketing. As a child, we went on trips down the East Coast, all the way down to Florida and over to Louisiana for a wedding. Also, I did spring break trips down to Florida and Alabama, the coasts, the beaches along there. Um, a couple spring breaks in a row, or two or three in a row. Let's see, what else? Oh, trip up to Canada as a kid. We did Niagara Falls. I know we were up in Toronto. Don't remember a lot of that, but and then later in college, we did our fraternity getaway up to Niagara Falls a few times, as well as up to London, Ontario, for a convention, a fraternity convention. Um, what else? Let's see, childhood trip. A couple school trips we did. Washington, D.C. was one of them. I remember going to, say, see the White House and the Capitol building and Lincoln Memorial, and going to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. Also, whitewater rafting trips when I was younger, Pennsylvania on the Youghiogheny River, Ohio Pile, and we also visited the Franklin Lloyd Wright House there, Falling Water, in that area. Let's see, what else? couple other trips in my teen years. I remember going for a spring break down to Louisiana after the Hurricane Katrina. We did a rebuilding for a week. We helped tear down houses and clear them out of debris, and that was a great trip. As well as my family, we flew over to California. We went up and down the coast a little bit. I remember San Fran, the piers, and I remember actually going over to the Alcatraz jail there on the island, as well as as far down as San Diego. We went to Universal Studios as well on that trip. What else? Now, more into my college years, I went on a few bigger trips. One was the Israel trip, 10 days, free trip that was funded by Jewish philanthropists and people in the Jewish community around the world to make sure every young Jewish person can go to Israel for free. So I did that 10-day trip, and everything from Jerusalem, old, new Jerusalem, to Haifa and near the Gaza Strip a little bit, Tel Aviv, climbing Masada, going to the Dead Sea and swimming in it, so on and so forth, as well as another college trip. My brother and we flew over to Europe and spent 2 months traveling Europe. We had a home base in Germany, in a small town called Landstuhl, and it's near Kaiserslautern. My brother's friend was in the U.S. Army as a nursing type of thing, and that was our home base between our trips, where we would jaunt out in different directions. And we went to 12 countries and 17 cities over the 2-month period. I'll try to name off all the countries and cities. By the way, my favorite cities were Barcelona, Budapest, Hungary, Prague in the Czech, Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and Florence, Italy. Those are my favorites. I like the smaller town feel, cleaner, a little more off the beaten path, getting food, local food, and not as touristy, not as crazy and hectic and oversold, like the big cities like Paris and so on and so forth, London. And so visited the 12 countries, some of which would be England and Spain and France and Germany and Netherlands and Belgium and uh, Czech and Hungary and Luxembourg and Switzerland and almost getting them all. I'll have to type in the rest of them on the screen. And the 17 cities, I named about 5 of them, but we also visited London and England, and we visited in Germany. We visited a bunch of cities: Kaiserslautern, Landstuhl, Berlin. I think we were near Munich for a little bit. The oldest town in Germany, well, there's a fortress there. Cologne, so on and so forth. I'll type more on the screen if I could think of them. And Netherlands, Amsterdam, and Luxembourg City, Luxembourg. And we visited Switzerland. We stopped in Zurich for a little bit. Where else? Barcelona and Spain, France, Paris, England, London, Czech, Prague, Hungary, Budapest, Italy. We went right past the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Where else? I'll type more on the screen as I think of them. So moving on. We stayed in hostels all the other nights. that we didn't stay, so probably